Here one matrix is given, matrix A, and we have to find following things. First of all, we have to find order of matrix, and for that we have to find out number of rows and number of columns. Here we have first row, second row, and third. Very good. And this one is your first column, second column, third column, and fourth column. So here we have 3 rows and 4 columns. Clear? The second quantity, which is number of elements, is simply 3 cross 4, or we can say 12. Okay. Now we have to find the following elements. Your first element is A13. That means it is in first row and third column, which is 19. Then your next element is A21, which will be in second row and first column. So we will get 35. Next one, A33. A33 will be in third row, third column. So it must be -5. And second last element is A24, which is in second row, fourth column, which will be 12. Your last element is A23. A23 must be in second row and third column. So 5 by 2 is your A23. If matrix has 24 elements, what are the possible order it can have? And for that, we have to find factors of 24. So we can say 24 can be factorized as 1 cross 24, then 2 cross 12, 3 cross 8. Now 8 cross 3, 12 cross 2, and 24 cross 1, 4 cross 6, and 6 cross 4. So these are the possible orders when matrix have 24 elements. Okay. Similarly, if we have 13 elements, then we have to find out factors of 13, and which are 1 cross 13 and 13 cross 1. Ta-da! Now, in third question, we have same logic. We have to find order of matrix when we have 18 elements. So we have to find factors of 18. 1 cross 18, then 2 cross 9, then 3 cross 6, then 6 cross 3, 9 cross 2, and 18 cross 1. Ta-da! Similarly, in second part of the question, we have to find possible order of matrix if it have 5 elements. So we have to find factors of 5, and we know that the only factors of 5 is 1 cross 5 and 5 cross 1. So ta-da! Here we have to construct 2 cross 2 matrix whose elements are given by Aij is equal to I plus j the whole square by 2. So here we have our 2 cross 2 matrix. It has 4 elements, 2 rows, and 2 columns. So let's try to find these 4 elements one by one. Your first element is A11. Okay, so your I is 1 and J is also 1. So your A11 must be 1 plus 1 the whole square by 2. So it will give us 2. Similarly, let's try to find out second element, which is A12. Your I is 1 and J is 2, which will be 1 plus 2 the whole square by 2, which will give us 9 by 2. Your next element is A21. your I is 2 and j is 1. So it will be 2 plus 1 the whole square by 2, or we can say 9 by 2. And your last element is a22. I and j both are 2. So we will get 2 plus 2 the whole square by 2, which will give us 8. So we are ready to find our matrix. Just place the values. Your a11 is 2, your a12 is 9 by 2, a21 is also 9 by 2, and your a22 is 8. So this is your required matrix. Ta-da!
In this question, we have to construct 2 cross 2 matrix. So first of all, here we get our 2 cross 2 matrix, whose elements are given by aij is equal to I by j. So to construct our matrix, we have to find 4 elements, a11, a12, a21 and a22. So let's find them one by one. Your first element is a11. That means your I is 1 and j is also 1. Substitute in your condition, we'll get 1 by 1, or we can say your first element is 1. Similarly, let's try to get your next element a12. Your I is 1 and j is 2. So here we'll get I by j, or we can say 1 by 2, which will be your second element. And now let's try to get a21. Here your I is 2 and j is 1. So we will get 2 by 1, or we can say your third element is 2. And finally a22, where I is 2 and j is also 2. So we will get 2 by 2, or we can say 1 is your last element. So we are ready to construct our matrix. Just substitute the respective values. Your a11 is 1, a12 is 1 by 2, a21 is 2 and a22 is 1. So tada! We get our required 2 cross 2 matrix.
We have to construct 2 cross 2 matrix whose elements are given by this rule. So first of all, let's get our 2 cross 2 matrix. Here it is. We have to find 4 elements. Your first element is a11. Your I is 1 and j is also 1. So here we'll get 1 plus 2 times 1, the whole square by 2. So we will get 9 by 2. Okay. Your next element is a12. Your I is 1 and j is 2. So we will get 1 plus 2 times 2, the whole square by 2. So here we'll get 25 by 2. Then we have to find a21, for which your I is 2 and j is 1. So we will get 2 plus 2 times 1, the whole square by 2. So we will get 16 by 2, or we can say 8. And your last element is a22. I and j both are 2. So we will get 2 plus 2 times 2, the whole square by 2, 36 by 2, or we can say 18. So we are ready to form our matrix. Just place the values. Your a11 is 9 by 2, a12 is 25 by 2, a21 is 8, and a22 is 18. So we get our 2 cross 2 matrix. Ta-da!
In this question, we have to construct 3 cross 4 matrix. So here we have our 3 cross 4 matrix with their respective elements. Now we have to get the value of elements using this formula. For aij, the element will be 2i minus j. So let's try to get one by one. Your first element is A11, where the value of I and j both is 1. So here we'll get 2 times 1 minus 1, which will give us 1. Then your next element will be A12. Your I will be 1 and j will be 2. So we will get 2 times 1 minus 2, or we can say 0. Then you have to find out A13, where I is 1 and j is 3. So we will get 2 times 1 minus 3, which will give us minus 1. Then your next element will be A14, where I will be 1 and j will be 4. So we will get 2 times 1 minus 4, which will give us minus 2. So we successfully get the elements of first row. Now let's move to the second row. The first element is A21. Your I is 2 and j is 1. So we will get 2 times 2 minus 1, or we can say 3. Then A22, I will be 2 and j will also 2. So we'll get 2 times 2 minus 2, which will give us 2. Then next element A23 will be 2 times 2 minus 3, or we can say 1. Similarly, last element of the second row will be 2 times 2 minus 4, or we can say 0. Now let's move to the last row. The first element is A31. Your I will be 3, j will be 1. So it will be 2 times 3 minus 1, or we can say 5. Similarly, A32 will be 2 times 3 minus 2, or we can say 4. And A33, where I is 3 and j is 3 also, will get 2 times 3 minus 3, or we can say 3. And your last element will be A34, where I is 3 and j is 4, will give us 2 times 3 minus 4, or we can say 2. So we get the values, all element. Now let's substitute them in their respective positions. The element of first row will be 1, 0, minus 1 and minus 2. Similarly, your second row will be 3, 2, 1 and 0, and last row will be 5, 4, 3 and 2. So tada! We get our final matrix of order 3 cross 4. In this question, we have to construct 3 cross 4 matrix. So let's consider 3 cross 4 matrix whose elements can be found using this formula. Aij is equal to 1 by 2 mod minus 3i plus j. So without wasting time, let's quickly find out first element, which is A11. That means your I will be 1 and j will also 1. So we will get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 times 1 plus 1, which will give us 1. Then your next element is A12, where I is 1 and j is 2. So we'll get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 1 plus 2, which will give us 1 by 2. Then next element is A13, where I is 1 and j is 3. So here we'll get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 times 1 plus 3, which will give us 0. And the last element of first row is A14, where I is 1 and j is 4. So here we'll get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 times 1 plus 4, or we can say we'll get 1 by 2. Then let's move to the second row. The first element is A21, where I is 2 and j is 1. So we'll get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 2 plus 1 will give us 5 by 2. Then A22 will be 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 2 plus 2, or we can say 4 by 2, which will give us 2. Then your next element is A23, where I is 2, j is 3, will give us 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 2 plus 3, or we can say 3 by 2. And the last element A24 will be 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 2 plus 4 will give us 1. So we get the values of second row. Now let's move to the third row. The first element is A31, can be found as 4. Then your next element is A32, will be 7 by 2. Similarly, your A33 is nothing but 3. And finally, the last element is A34. Your I is 3 and j is 4. So you'll get 1 by 2 mod minus 3 into 3 plus 4 will give us 5 by 3. So successfully we get the values of all elements. Just substitute the values in their respective places. Your first element A11 is 1. Then the next element is 1 by 2. The third element is 0 and the last element is 1 by 2. Similarly, your second row will be 5 by 2, 2, 3 by 2 and 1. And last row will be 4, 7 by 2, 3 and 5 by 3. So, tada! We get our required 3 cross 4 matrix.
Here we have to find value of x, y and z for following equation. 4, 3, x, 5 is equal to y, z, 1, 5, and both matrices are equal to each other. So 4 must be equal to y. So let's write down 4 is equal to y. Then your 3 must be equal to z. So you'll get 3 equal to z. X must be equal to 1. And 5 must be equal to 5. So yes, we know that 5 is equal to 5. So we get the value of x, y and z. Ta-da! To solve second matrix equation, let's compare respective elements. Your x plus y must be equal to 6. So let's write down x plus y equal to 6. Then 2 must be 2, which is quite obvious. And 5 plus z must be equal to 5. So 5 plus z is equal to 5 will give us the value of z, which is 0. And your last element is xy and 8. So both must be equal to each other. Now to get the value of x and y, we have to solve your equation number 1 and equation number 2. And for that, let's make y subjective will be equal to 6 minus x and place the value over here. So you'll get x into 6 minus x is equal to 8. Now let's multiply your x with 6 will give us 6x, and x multiply with x give us minus x square is equal to 8, or we can simplify it as x square minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. Okay, so we get quadratic equation and we have to create factors of it. Its factor must be x minus 4 and x minus 2. So we get two values of x, 4 and 2. And we have to find value of y also. For x is equal to 4, we will get y is equal to 6 minus 4, or we can say 2. And for x is equal to 2, we will get y is equal to 6 minus 2, or we can say 4. So your solution set must be 4 comma 2 comma 0 and 2 comma 4 comma 0. This is your final answer. Ta-da! Now let's solve our third matrix equation to find value of x, y, z. Let's equate them. Your x plus y plus z must be equal to, so it will form your first equation. Then let's equate second element. Will give us x plus z is equal to 5. And your last element will give us y plus z equal to 7. Now let's try to solve this equation. Let's take equation number 1 minus equation number 2. Let's get our equation number 1 and 2. Change the sign. So your x and z will cancel out. We will get y is equal to 9 minus 5, or you can say 4. Okay, now what? Now let's place the value of y in equation number 3. So we will get 4 plus z is equal to 7, which will give us z is equal to 3. And if we place this value in equation number 2, so we will get x plus 3 is equal to 5, which will give us x is equal to 2. So tada! We get our x, y, and z. In this question, we have to find value of a, b, c, and d from the following equation. And for that, we have to compare respective elements of both matrix. So from first element, we will get a minus b is equal to minus 1. Let's call it equation number 1. Then from second element, we will get 2a plus c is equal to 5. And from third element, we will get 2a minus b is equal to 0. And from last element, we will get bc plus d is equal to 13. Now, let's try to solve your equation number 1 and equation number 3. Take a difference between them. So we will get minus a is equal to minus 1, or we can say we will get a is equal to 1. Substitute the value of a in second equation, you will get 2 times 1 plus c is equal to 5, or we can say your c will be 3. Then substitute the value of a in third equation, we will get 2 times 1 minus b is equal to 0, will give us b is equal to 2. In third equation, we have c and d, and we already have the value of c. So substitute the value of c in fourth equation, will give us 3 times 3 plus d is equal to 13, will give us d is equal to 4. So tada! We get the value of a, b, c, and d. Matrix A is a square matrix if m is equal to n. Ta-da! Here we have to find unique value of x and y for which the pair of matrix will be equal. So let's compare these two matrices and their respective elements. From first element, we will get 3x plus 7 is equal to 0, which will give us x is equal to minus 7 by 3. From second element, we will get phi is equal to y minus 2, or we can say your y will be 7. From this element, we will get y plus 1 is equal to 8, which will give us y is equal to 7, which we already find out. And from last element, we will get 2 minus 3x is equal to 4, or we can say your x will be minus 2 by 3, which is not equal to our previous value of x. So we can say we don't get unique value of x which satisfied both equation. So your correct answer is option B. It is not possible to find unique value. Ta-da! Here we have to find number of all possible matrices of order 3 cross 3 with each entry must be 0 or 1. Here number of elements are 3 cross 3, or we can say 9. Okay, and possibilities for any entry is 0 or 2. So we can say we have two possibilities. So number of possibilities is 2 raised to 9, or we can say 5 and 2, which is given in option D. Ta-da!